One of maybe the most wonderful things about Salt Lake and this region is we have access literally in our backyard to this unbelievable mountain range that extends 7,500 feet above the valley floor and precipitously, which makes for both a stark setting for our valleys, but also gives access so quickly into tall and magnificent mountains. The challenge that presents is that these mountains attract millions and millions of visitors a year. Most of them are local, if you look at the total number throughout the year and throughout this immediate area. But the numbers are the equivalent of what you would get if we were the third largest national park in the country. At the same time, these mountains are the primary source of water for this valley, so protecting the watershed in these mountains is the first priority. An incredible challenge is to maintain the resource and protect the resource in its high-quality natural condition for watershed protection and water supply, and yet accommodate these millions of visitors. We have a transportation system designed in steep, narrow canyons with 2 lanes of road and with some of the heaviest, highest avalanche danger in the world, particularly in Little Cottonwood Canyon. Going back many decades, people have realized those challenges, and we have now a pretty good bus system that enables people to get up to the resorts. But the congestion and the combination of congestion and snowfall and avalanche conditions means there are times in the winter when people might wait 2 or 3 hours to be able to get up to the resorts, and similar time, if not more time sometimes, to get back down from the resorts. So everyone recognizes that the existing conditions for transportation simply don't work. There isn't the parking, the roads are too clogged, and expanding the roads significantly is simply unacceptable. We've got to solve these transportation issues that clog these mountains unacceptably for people trying to access them. There really are 3 basic approaches to transit solutions. One would be to increase bus service. A second would be to have an aerial system, a cable-based system. A third would be to build a rail system. And people have strongly held views about what would and wouldn't work. There have been dozens of studies done over the last couple of decades, and we're now trying to sort through that and try to arrive at a proposal or a recommendation and then a decision on how do we provide for a higher capacity system, protect the environment, and protect this range of recreational users. We have developed what the objectives are for a transportation system and what the attributes are for a transportation system to be successful. And we've tried to frame then a development of alternatives around what would be successful for a regional system, a year-round system, a system that can meet a higher capacity of moving people than we have today. Between 2019 and 2020, the number of people going up in these mountains in the busier areas, on a peak day, the use went up 250%. Now with the pandemic, what we're seeing here, and we're seeing it to varying degrees all over the country, people are flooding into the outdoors. Maybe after the pandemic, some of that will diminish, but when we see that the population in this region is going to grow by 30, 40, 50% or more in the next 20, 30 years. That's kind of a view into our future. Well, we don't want to cut people off from being able to enjoy this incredible resource we have here. And yet at the same time, we've got to protect the environment, and we want to respect this competing sense of users so that we don't eliminate the kinds of experiences that make Salt Lake and the Wasatch area such a remarkable place to live. The Central Wasatch Commission, who I work for, is made up of all of the local governments in and immediately adjacent to these mountains. What we're trying to do at the Central Wasatch Commission is to form a consensus as best as possible and to come with a recommendation for a system that will work, looking at the whole region. That is a tall task for a whole variety of reasons. I think if we are successful in maintaining the kind of cohesiveness among the local jurisdictions and we're able to keep people at the table who have various and sometimes competing interests, that the Central Wasatch Commission can and will be successful. When you engage people, while it can be painful at times with so much competing interests and many personalities, if we can work through that process, we can end up with the best possible solution.